Right then, so today I'm going to have a look at this new rifle that's just come out. Anyone that watches Hot Air channel will have seen a quick preview of this on the lads channel there. And this is the Edgar Brothers what's it called now? EV2 RS. And it's the second incarnation really of the EV2, which was the first rifle that air rifle that Edgar Brothers brought out, the first PCP. So the lads at Field Sports Equip in Rill have very kindly let me borrow this for a minute, for a little bit. And I'm going to do a quick overview of it, a quick, more in-depth overview of it than what they did on the Hot Air channel. And then in a couple of weeks' time, I think the lads have got a really nice shooting range set up now. That's going to be opening in a couple of weeks in North Wales. And I've had a quick look at some photos that he showed me, and I'm going to go down and have a quick sort of preview of the layout of the place before it opens to the general public. But it looks really smart. They've got some really nice shooting stations. So I will be taking this rifle down there and putting some shots through it on the range when that place opens up. But for now, I'm just going to do a quick review of the rifle itself. So the first one, you may have seen the EV2. I did a quick look at one of those on when a walk around of Field Sports Equip, the gun shop in Rill. Nice rifle, was quite impressed with it, but I didn't like the steel cylinder. I thought the steel cylinder made it look a little bit budget. And I did say on that video that the first thing I'd do if I bought one was replace it with a carbon fibre bottle. Because the actual rifle itself, the rest of it was really quite good quality. And it was just spoilt by that stainless steel cylinder. So Edgar Brothers have obviously listened to what people have been saying about that rifle when it first came out, and they've come up with this one, the new one. Now, the other thing with this, this now has a cylinder rather than a bottle, and it is also now regulated. And you get this rifle, the hard case, and a telescopic sight. Now, I haven't got the sight, sadly, because they were showing that to someone else, but the sight is a 3-12 by 50. And it with mounts as well, and it's quite a nice little sight, to be honest. It's a nice little basic entry-level sight, which will give you a package for a shade under 500 quid of a regulated PCP air rifle and a 3-12 by 50 telescopic sight and mounts. You can't really ask for more than that. Now, obviously, this is not made in the UK. It is actually, I'm pretty sure it's made in Turkey. And I think it's made by the Kral group. Reximex, Kral and all that sort of lot. So, you know, it's got some pedigree there because Kral make an awful lot of air rifles and have been making them for donkey's years. So it's not an entirely new from the ground up rifle. The other thing is this comes with a 3-year warranty, and it's distributed by Edgar Brothers, UK based, so that warranty should be pretty good, I would have thought, because Edgar Brothers, they're not a new unit, they've been here in the gun trade for donkey's years, so I would imagine that 3-year warranty is going to be quite a good one, you know. And it's UK based, so you should get, if there is any problems with it, you should get a pretty quick turnaround. But to be honest with you, I would imagine that this is going to be a fairly solid sort of rifle. So let's have a close look then. So let's have a quick look at what you get with it. So you get an instruction leaflet. You also get a target set up. Tells you what the pellet weight was, 14.66 grains. Tells you the model, tells you who shot it. And you get some feet per second readings to show you as well. It doesn't say whether they were shot from a magazine or whether they were shot from single shot tray, but nonetheless there's not a lot wrong with the variations there, and there's not a lot wrong with that grouping. It doesn't say how far it was shot either, but there you go. So let's have a look at the rifle. You get a filler probe, some spare O-rings. There's a standard filler probe and a couple of mags. Pretty much the standard sort of Turkish style magazines. Spring loaded, push them round. Pretty basic really. Numbered so you know how many shots you put in it. And with the calibre written on them. So you get 2 mags, filler probe, couple of extra O-rings, couple of O-rings for the filler probe and a couple of O-rings presumably for the cylinder in the box, and your little bit of paper. Right, so let's have a look at the rifle itself. So start at the front. So first thing you'll notice over the first incarnation of this rifle is that they've now got a cylinder, and if you ask me, that looks much nicer than that rather horrible sort of enamelled enamelled steel bottle that was on the original version. It's got a gauge on the end, nice and big, easy to read, nice and clear. Now it is on the end of the rifle, which isn't ideal, but having said that, vast numbers of air rifles have the gauge there, so it's not a big deal. Filler probe goes in there, pretty standard fare really. Barrel is shrouded, and I think the shroud is actually baffled, so the shroud actually does kind of work as a moddy. If I'm right, I think, no I'm wrong, it's not threaded for a UNF moderator, but I have no doubt that you will be able to get an adapter that will allow you to put a moddy on. But to be fair, I have put some shots through the one that they had in the shop that was scoped up, shot on their little indoor range, and shooting inside the gun shop. This moderator actually does seem to actually do something. A lot of these mods do nothing, so that's why I said I think it's baffled, because it does actually seem to cut the noise down. A lot of these shrouds are just for looks, they do absolutely nothing, but this one does seem to cut down the noise from this particular rifle. So the other thing that came as a shock, when I first saw it on the hot air channel relay, I couldn't decide whether this front section here was ABS plastic or billeted aluminium, and I imagine that it would have been ABS plastic for the price of the gun. Came as a shock, it's not. It is metal. It's a machined metal forend, like what you get on the Air Arms S500 Tactical. Same thing, machined aluminium. It's got Picatinny rail on the bottom and 2 Picatinny rails either side on the front, and you get another Picatinny rail just in front of the trigger. Now again, this is, in my opinion, a big improvement over the original version of this rifle, and in fact a big improvement over a great many air rifles, because one of my favourite gripes is you get a PCP and they have a bit of Picatinny rail just in front of the trigger, and when you put a bipod on, it's far too centralised on the rifle to give the steadiest shot. Ideally you want your bipod somewhere out the front of the rifle where it gives a much more steady base for your shots. This is way out the front, this bit of Picatinny rail here, and it's a decent length as well, so you're going to get virtually any Picatinny bipod on that rail, and it's going to be right out the front of the rifle, nice and steady. You've also got positions for lamps, IR lamps or torches or whatever else you want to put on there, range finders, anything you want you can stick on either side. So that is a big plus point to me. Very nice. I like that. I like the idea behind that a lot. It's a good place to have a piece of Picatinny rail rather than just underneath your trigger. They've got another one underneath the trigger. Don't know why, because I can't see anybody putting a bipod here when you've got the facility to put it out here. I suppose this is more for if you've got it on a tripod. So, pressure gauge there, that's your regulator pressure, and it's set to about 80 bar. Non-adjustable because this is a sub 12, but there's your regulator pressure. EB arms, and it's got a sort of chassis which is a fairly similar shape to something like the Air Max, with this sort of deeper section here. Adjustable trigger with a slot so you can get at the screws, and it's a nice shape and a nice trigger. Like I say, I put a few shots through this, haven't adjusted it because it's not at the minute my rifle, I haven't actually paid for it yet, and it's got quite a sweet trigger, to be honest. Spring loaded cocking lever, springs open, pretty standard fare, fairly robust, and when I put some shots through it, seems quite positive and quite smooth, and a fairly short throw as well. Then we come to the rubberized pistol grip, and it is rubberized as well. It's really good, this. Actually, I really like this pistol grip. It's very, very nice, very tactile, very, very grippy. Yeah, I like that. It's not a branded piece, so it's not FAS, FAS or Magpul, but nonetheless, it's nice. That rubberized finish on it is really tactile. Everything's metal. All this is all metal, billeted aluminium, anodized. Picatinny rail built into the top, as per normal. What you expect these days. And then we come to the fully adjustable rear stock. So adjustable for length. You can raise the cheek piece up and down as well. And it's a fairly standard operation. I can't do it one-handed, unfortunately, but it's a fairly standard operation, like you get on a Magpul or a FAS type things. You push that in, it slides up and down. Loosen that off, this slides up and down, and then you lock it off. Nice rubberized, again rubberized butt pad with some decent sized grips, slots in it, so it's nice and grippy. It's nice, that. Now, you would imagine that, remembering, I haven't told you the price of this rifle. So this, with the hard case, 2 magazines, and the telescopic sight, the whole kit is a shade under 500 quid. Now, for that, you would imagine that things weren't necessarily of the highest quality, but I've got to say that it's actually quite impressive. There's virtually no play in this stock section at the back here. It is very, very good, to be fair. Virtually nothing at all. Certainly nothing that is going to detract from the usability of this rifle. You know, there's a tiny bit perhaps, but it's next to nothing. Cheek piece, nice and solid. And obviously you can lock it out. I haven't locked it out, but you can lock it out. It's not my gun, so I don't want to go fiddling too much with it. I am seriously thinking of buying this thing, because for that sort of money, as a pest control rifle, I don't think you can go far wrong. Now, I did shoot the first version of this that came out. I took that out, shot it, and found it pretty damn good, to be fair. Easily good enough for hunting out to 40 yards, easy. You know, you're going to have no trouble knocking over rats, squirrels and rabbits with it at that range, or pigeon. Anything like that with headshots, easy peasy. You may not win any HFT competitions with it, but for a hunting rifle, perfect. And you've got to remember what you're paying for this thing. But this is, I think this is way, way better than the first version. It really is. And I'm imagining the regulator with those figures there, that regulator will, if anything, improve the accuracy of the rifle, which was good anyway. The accuracy wasn't a problem. The thing that put me off the first one was that really rather ugly steel cylinder. I don't like those steel cylinders. I never have. I think they look ugly. Whether they're on a Red Wolf, on an FX, or whatever they're on, or even an old Theoben, I don't like them. And I think this cylinder is much more visually pleasing, and this here is fantastic. It solved a problem. that a lot of air rifles, a lot of PCPs, these tactical ones have, and that is that they always have the bit of Picatinny here. And you have to spend a fortune in some cases to get the Picatinny out the front. On this, no, it's there as you need it, and it's all metal as well. It's not ABS, it's metal. In many ways, it kind of reminds me of the Air Arms Tactical. It's a great looking gun, and with a scope as well, for just a shade under 500 quid. What more can you say? It's really, really, really rather nice. Now, obviously, these magazines are not going to be the greatest magazines in the history of magazines, but they're usable, they're cheap, and they're easily available. So, you know, if they do start to wear out after a year's hammering, bin them off and get some other ones. They're not going to cost you a fortune. You look at the price of some magazines now, it costs a bloody fortune. Some magazines that some manufacturers are selling them for. Ridiculous. So yeah, what a nice rifle. So, shrouded with a shroud that actually does cut down the volume a bit. Nice new cylinder, looks really nice in this sort of matte black finish. Beautiful machine billeted forend with a tripod mount exactly where you want, a bipod mount, pardon me, exactly where you want it, and the ability to put a bipod on, a tripod on if you so choose. Picatinny rail on the top, all built in to the rifle as well. So it's part of the actual casting, so it's not going to work loose, the screws aren't going to come loose, and it's not going to wobble around. It's actually part of the casting as it is. Really nice trigger, and sprung loaded, fairly straightforward short throw. You know, that is not loud. It's a cracking little bit of kit, to be honest. To be honest with you, for the money, I can't really find anything to fault this particular one with. There's nothing really that I don't particularly like. Yeah, nothing that I can, nothing that immediately jumps out and you think, oh, I don't like that. Everything seems pretty spot on. Very nice. So if tactical guns are your thing, or you're looking for a pest control rifle to take out and shoot rabbits, grey squirrels, or you're having a problem with rats, then with its scope for the money, this is going to be right up there. In fact, I've reviewed a few budget PCPs, and I'm going to say it now, so far, this is head and shoulders the nicest one that I've seen so far. Now, the lads mentioned on the Hot Air magazine about the quality of the hard case, and it is quite a good quality hard case, but they're saying that it doesn't fit the scope. But I'll be honest with you, these, when I've had rifles in the past, these always end up going on top of the wardrobe. I would never dream of storing a rifle that I've used out in the field in one of these, because you think you've dried a gun off, you come home, you think you've dried it off, you oil it or whatever, put it in one of these, and guarantee you leave it a couple of weeks. How many times have you seen it? Guns that are in cases or boxes, people take them out and the side that's resting on whatever has started to go rusty. It's because guns need that airflow around them. These cases, they're alright if the gun's never been out or never done nothing, like i.e. in the shop. But I would never ever store, even if it had loads of room for scopes and bipods and all that, I would never ever store a rifle in one of these things. The guns need that airflow around them. I've always been an advocate of buying a hard, proper gun cabinet for 100 quid or just over 100 quid. You can buy them now, and they've got so many benefits. Your gun's out of the way, it's safe, It's got airflow around it. If you throw a Napier VP50 sachet in there, it's not going to corrode. No one can mess with it. No one can steal it. And not only that, if you've got a partner who's a little bit inquisitive about what you're buying for your rifles, it's also hidden away so no one knows how much you're spending. So they have so many benefits for 100 quid. All of my guns are in lockable cabinets, proper gun cabinets. And I would thoroughly recommend them. They keep the gun safe, they keep you safe, they keep anyone around you safe, and they keep everything nicely out of the way. So personally, these cases, they're nice to pick the gun up from the gun shop in. It's better than a cardboard box. But personally, everyone I've ever had, even the Daystate ones and all the rest of them, very nice. They always just go straight on top of the wardrobe. Because I just don't think they're really of much use for anything really. And whenever I go to the range or go shooting, I always take them in a gun bag that I can sling over my shoulder anyway. So there you go. So, like I say, I will be getting myself down to the Hot Air Rifle Shooting Centre, as it's going to be known when it opens. And it's at Babeth in Holywell. There's the phone number if you want to give them a bell, and that's what they've got on there. Sounds good to me. And I'll definitely be giving that a view. And the lads are in, if you want to have a chat with the actual lads that run that, or going to be running that, they're in Field Sports Equip, the gun shop in Rill. And nice chaps. You can't go wrong. I've been going there for donkey's years. It's got new owners, obviously, but I've still been going there for years and years. But what a cracking little gun. I think Edgar Brothers are going to be shifting these by the shed full, because that is a nice looking, solid, well put together, and if it shoots as well as the EB2 that I had, pretty damn good air rifle, especially with that regulator on board now. I like it a lot. Thanks for watching.